Hi, my name's Itali and in this video I'll be doing a commission for Juvu. Just a reminder, this is a time-lapse video, so it does contain fast-moving and flashing images. So this is a 2-hour commission that I picked up over at DeviantArt, and it has been kind of fun to do as it's one of those winged snake kind of dragons, and I don't get to draw them very often, so I did enjoy the experience of figuring out exactly how to attach the wings to the body of a snake that has sort of like a wider chest attached to it. I'm not going to try pronounce the name of the dragon since I did try to already with the microphone off, and I even had a little pronunciation thing to help me, and I just can't say it, so I'm not going to embarrass myself by attempting to say what this kind of dragon is. I'm just going to call it a winged snake for now because that's basically what they are. But yeah, they are kind of cool dragons, and I've only really drawn one at this point in time. When I'd drawn this picture, I'd only ever drawn one before, but since then I have drawn a couple for Day of Dragons as well. So I'm a bit more practiced in drawing these dragons now than I was at the time of drawing this, and I do feel like I kind of missed some details whilst doing the sketch, and I possibly could have made it a bit better than how it turned out. I'm still happy with how this turned out. It just could have been a tiny bit better, but I was limited by the 2 hours, so there was only so much that I could do with that amount of time. I wanted to go for this low sort of hissing snake pose, and I was trying to do a bit of perspective, but it's one of my weak points is I'm not very good at perspective, so I end up just kind of making it a straight look on sort of view of the dragon. Maybe I'll try practicing perspective a bit more in the future when I have more time. But for now, most of my pictures just end up being like viewing it at eye level and like not really having much perspective, or making something going towards a vanished line. I've never really been very good at that, but it is something I'd like to improve upon, and I did try a little bit with this picture, and you'll see later on in the video I do enlarge the head and try and make it go away from the camera a bit more. So I do get some of it in there, but yeah, I do need to practice perspectives more. Once I was finished with the sketch and the commissioner was happy with how it was looking, I moved on to colouring. Now I do have a reference picture and a set of colours I was to use, so I did actually teardrop the colour and then turn it to grey, as I do actually find it more comfortable to shade in tones of grey now than how I used to colour. I just find it easier to define muscle shapes and things like that without colour getting in the mix, and then adding the colour over top with a colour layer afterwards. You may notice most of my pictures are done this way now, and in fact I have done a whole bunch of avatar pictures for Day of Dragons, and they will be on my channel too, and they are all done the same way. So they're all shaded in tones of grey, and then I use a colour layer over top. It just gives me more freedom to mix in colours and to make colour decisions without affecting the actual sort of muscle structure that I've already painted underneath. And I don't know, I just sort of like these dark, like especially shading in these dark colours, it's just sort of nice. I just felt like I liked colouring like this, and I liked how the shoulder and the back looks. I was really happy with how that was looking at this stage, but I do think the chest ended up a little bit too large, and if I had more time I'd probably go back and change that. The wing membranes are white for this dragon, so it's pretty much shaded in white and then with a touch of grey, but I'll be mixing in the colours on the colour layer and to add it a bit more character to just the white wings as well. I did try to add a few scales, but I found the more details I added, like, it just didn't really suit the picture. And again, I only had 2 hours to do this whole thing, so I couldn't spend too much time adding like a billion scales to the drawing. You can see I was also struggling a little bit with the wings. They're just a weird angle to draw. Wings are just hard, just in case you didn't know, wings are just hard to draw in general. And I find the wings that's further away from the viewer, I always find them the hardest to draw. Again, probably because my issue with perspective. I'm not very good at like shortening things and changing the perspective on them, so I struggled with this back wing a little bit. I got it in the end, but it definitely doesn't come natural to me, and is something I will have to try and practice more, because I do think that drawings with more perspective on them, like more forced perspective or foreshortening and that kind of thing, they do look better and more dynamic. So hopefully one day I'll be able to do it, but at this stage I can do it a tiny bit. So there's a little bit of perspective in this, but not a huge amount. I did want to have the tail rattling, so I just copied the tail a few times and then turned the opacity down on them and sort of blurred them a bit to try and give the illusion of the tail rattling. And now it does have some markings on it too, so in order to create the markings for this, I just created a layer above the base layer of the dragon, and I just used, I think it was an overlay layer, to add the lighter parts, and then I go back in and paint over those to sort of push the light and dark areas a bit more. At this stage is also when I start adding color to the picture, as some areas need to have the grey tones adjusted to reach the correct color for the reference picture. I was actually very happy with how fleshy my mouth looks. I know it's a bit weird, but I've never really been great at mouths, and I think this picture was kind of like one of my turning points, where I finally was starting to learn how to do like open mouths and different mouth perspectives and the right amount of shine and shadow and light to put in a mouth to make it look more realistic. So I was quite happy with how this open snake dragon mouth turned out. Now, because I'd spent so long drawing the sketch for this and colouring the body, I did not have much time left for a background, so we end up having a very basic background. But I honestly think it is better to spend most of your time on the character itself, since it's the important part of the picture here, and with such a small amount of time for a drawing of this size, I think, yeah, it's a better idea to focus on the character itself rather than the background. So just sort of do a loose grey rock background, and the character's filling most of the frame anyway, so it's not as obvious that I didn't spend as much time on the background as what I did with the character dragon. And here it is, here's the finished picture. Thank you so much for commissioning me. I really did enjoy doing this, and hopefully I can do pictures for you again in the future. Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support me. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Bye!